So there's been a lot of chatter recently on a supposed Midjourney killer called Leonardo.AI. I was a bit skeptical about it, so I decided the fairest thing to do would just be to jump in and do a head-to-head. And no matter what you think of the end result, I highly recommend that you head over to Leonardo and sign up for an account. It's free. You might as well give it a shot. We're going to jump into the head-to-head in just a second, but I did want to cover a couple of bases on Leonardo and talk about a couple of features that I didn't see anybody else talking about, plus a weird glitch coming up later on that I also did not see anyone talking about. Okay, let's hop in. So once you've gotten yourself signed up at Leonardo.AI, and that process can be a little confusing, so if you run into problems, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to walk you through it. You are greeted with the home page. Leonardo.AI is web-based, unlike Midjourney, which is Discord-based. At the top, you'll find featured models, which is sort of their trained model sets, and then below that their community feed, recent creations. Scrolling through that, we've got some really nice images in here, a lot of various art styles. There's a lot of ladies in this one, I'm not gonna lie, comparing to the Midjourney feed, which I'll say isn't less thirsty, but isn't quite as obvious about it maybe. But I think the overall takeaway is that both are very capable of producing some amazing imagery. So quickly going over the models that you were provided with, you have Deliberate 1.1, which is sort of their photorealistic and artistic creation style. I guess this would be considered default for the most part. Vintage photography, which, as its name implies, is looking like a film camera. Luna, which has a magical mystery creature vibe to it. Leonardo Creative, which is a fine-tuned version of Stable Diffusion 2.1. It had some very nice images in here. Paper art style, which I've been playing around a lot with lately and will be in our head-to-head shortly. Christmas sticker. Okay, yeah, there's just a lot more models that you can go through. But one thing that I do find very interesting about Leonardo is that you can create your own custom data sets and models by uploading photos. I didn't go through it myself, but if you have somewhere in the neighborhood of like 5 to 10 images that are in a similar style, you can train Leonardo in that style to use in your own prompts. If you go through the community models, you can see the stuff that other people have already trained things on. Not only that, but you can actually see images that were created with that particular model. So let's just take a look at Realistic Zombie 2.0. So, somebody obviously created this model and others then went through and created images with it. LeBron James as a zombie, for example. This is kind of a smart move on Leonardo's part in that anything that you upload is obviously training their model, and at the same time, you are getting the results that you want, as opposed to Midjourney's closed system of it is trained on what it is trained on, and you are not allowed to train it on anything else. Okay, so using Deliberate 1.1, let's take a look at what the UI looks like. So while free, Leonardo does limit the amount of tokens that you have per day. I think it started at around 250 with one image costing a token, roughly. There are some other features that cost more tokens, but we'll get into that in a minute or two. Your options along the side are the number of images that you want to generate, the image dimensions, which I do believe as you boost it up, yes, indeed, costs you more tokens. The guidance scale, step count, tiling, finally uploading an image, basically image to image. Over on this side, we have our prompting window, the model that we would like to use, the style that we would like to use, and if you want to include negative prompts. One thing that I think a lot of people missed, or I don't know if maybe it's just a brand new feature, is this prompt generation down here, which sort of allows you to come up with prompt ideas just based off of a word. So apparently, I guess you have a limited number, about 1,000 prompts that you can generate on your own per month. So if we do, let's just say Ninja, and idea 8 on that, I gave it 4 prompts to do so. It will come up with prompt ideas, which I think is actually pretty fascinating. It's a cool idea. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I find myself sort of blanking out on what I want to create. So this is kind of a neat idea in maybe jumpstarting some thoughts in your head in terms of what you want to see, but it broke. So there's that. We can try it again. I will say I did it earlier and it didn't break. So, okay, so that's not working. I will say I did get it working earlier and I did generate images based off of that. So we'll check that out in a little bit. One thing that Leonardo does have that Midjourney does not is outpainting via this canvas feature. We're going to take a look at that in a little bit, but I got to say that it's actually very nice to have. That's something that Midjourney lacks. And they've discussed adding in at some point, but I don't know how high it is on their priority list right now. So with all that out of the way, let's take a look at some head-to-head comparisons, just straight prompts, and see how each of them did. So for our first one, I decided just to kind of go simple. Toast. You can't get easier than toast, can you? I don't know. You can't get easier than breakfast. So the prompt was a beautiful piece of toast sitting on a breakfast table with a steaming cup of coffee. I also had not had breakfast before I made that prompt. So this is what I got from Leonardo. Not bad. To me, it feels very Midjourney version 3. 2 cups of coffee, which is interesting. 1 steaming, 1 apparently had gone cold. It also gave me this, which is, yes, more or less what I asked for, but again, not really anything that really blows me away. Midjourney, on the other hand, gave us this. Midjourney gonna Midjourney with the cup of coffee inside the piece of toast. Definitely more on the artistic side, lit very beautifully. Yeah, it looks good. Purely aesthetically, I mean, obviously, Midjourney takes it here. My next prompt was a fantasy landscape with the cyberpunk knight holding a sword. Very common in terms of the overall vibe of AI art. Again, solid. It definitely nailed the cyberpunkiness with sort of the glowing eyes there. Fantasy landscape in the background again. I would say the assignment was completed. A few alternates generated as well, such as this one. This bizarre one with our knight that has a giant sword coming out of his head. And then lastly, this one. Again, I think that anytime you type in cyberpunk, you're going to get those sort of neon purple and blue colors. That seems to be the thing that AI recognizes as this means cyberpunk. So let's move on to Midjourney and see what that got us. Same prompt in Midjourney. We get the very typical Midjourney hero back to camera look that it seems to love so much. Aesthetically, again, Midjourney is going to take the cake here. Colors are very much in the same scheme, but to me, much more appealing. And the overall character design is more intricate and just kind of cooler, in my opinion. For the next one, I wanted to try some interior design type stuff. So the prompt was a hipster apartment, warm colors, natural wood, green trees outside. This is what Leonardo generated, which is kind of a mess. I mean, all of the things that I asked for are here, but it's not really tied cohesively into an apartment. This was the alternate image that Leonardo got me. Again, a bit of a mess. Like, where's this wood going? Everything looks kind of overgrown. In all honesty, it kind of looks like a scene from Last of Us. These are the images that Midjourney gave me. It definitely nailed that apartment look. There's always the weirdness. Apparently this person has a washing machine in their living room. I've actually lived in some pretty weird apartments, so that actually doesn't throw me all too much. Overall, though, it is definitely much more aesthetically pleasing and does look like someone actually lives here. You know what it missed for hipster? It needed a record player. I think maybe that's what that was supposed to be. A couple of days ago, I ran across my old copy of Zombies vs. Robots. It is a comic graphic novel by the artist Ashley Wood. I thought that this might make for an interesting test, so I wanted to know if Leonardo could do styles. So this was the very simple prompt of a robot fighting a zombie in the style of Ashley Wood. We got this, which is borderline inappropriate, and it also generated this image. I mean, I think that it understood that Ashley Wood is a comic book artist, weirdly enough, but yeah, style-wise, it just didn't quite make the grade here. Midjourney, on the other hand, gave me these images, which is clearly much more in the style of Ashley Wood, although it didn't really nail that zombie thing. That might be, I guess that's a zombie. Okay, sure. I'm actually not a huge fan of sort of splatter prompts or prompt gore, but I did want to try out some longer prompts with Leonardo, so I grabbed this off of a community feed, which would be Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Unreal Engine 5, cinematic color grading, blah, 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 on and on it goes. And this is the image that I came out with. However, this was my initial output, which, if you remember the zombie robot thing, is the exact same pose. Somewhere in there, that earlier image generation got stuck in my session, which is interesting. I've never actually had that happen to me before. It's almost like it treated it like a seed, but they actually don't. So the seed here is 564, and the seed on this one is 643. So I'm not sure how or why it kind of glitched out like that. I tried it again, and same deal. What's interesting is that I had generated an image in between them, though. So I don't know how it ended up reverting back to that other one. Just a weird glitch, something to bear in mind. Though on the Midjourney side, we did end up with this, which is pretty fantastic. I did want to talk about paper quilling, which is something that I've been playing around with a little bit. The prompt on this one was paper cut and paper quilling. Tranquil river flows through a vibrant meadow surrounded by majestic mountains in the background, illuminated by the soft light of the spring season. Actually, I think I got that from the prompt generator. In fact, I did get that from the prompt generator. So when it works, it does come up with stuff like that. It's very nice. I actually am very pleased by this image. The same prompt on the Midjourney side got me a little more color, I feel, but you know, both of them I think are very decent images. So well done to both. And lastly, I wanted to go over cinematic images. If you follow the channel, I do this a lot, actually. So this is cinematic style, a man drinking whiskey at a bar in a neo-noir style in a film by David Fincher, I believe. Yeah, David Fincher. So this was Midjourney's output. I'm very used to this. This actually is one that I would probably re-roll a few times. This dude looks a little like Brendan Gleeson. I don't know why I ended up with this illustrative style down here because I specified cinematic, but regardless. Same prompt on the Leonardo side gave me the infamous extra limbs. Yes, I could have gone through and done negative prompts to get rid of that, but I wanted to see how things would do just sort of on their own. He's also drinking. Well, he does have 3 hands, so I guess he does need 3 drinks, although he's got another one. This dude's going to be lit. He can't drive. Somebody get his keys. So that's a look at Leonardo versus Midjourney. I don't think it's a Midjourney killer. That said, I think it's a very promising tool. It's still early days in and developing. So I would recommend, again, going out, signing up for an account and giving it a shot. I'll be keeping an eye on Leonardo and letting you guys know as things develop on that front. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts on Midjourney and if you've run across anything that you would even remotely consider a Midjourney killer. And as always, if you found this interesting or helpful, a like and subscribe is always appreciated. Take care. We'll see you soon.